Hello, dear members. My name is Dr. Nina, and welcome you to the Dr. Nina YouTube channel family. The human mind has a powerful defense mechanism that most people never notice, and that is the ability to lie to itself, not out of weakness, but out of survival psychology. Calls this self-deception, and it is one of the most common reasons people stay stuck in unhappy lives without realizing why the mind does this to protect the ego, because accepting painful truth requires emotional energy, responsibility, and change, and the brain always chooses the path that feels safest, even if it is harmful in the long run. People tell themselves they are fine when they are emotionally exhausted. They say they are busy when they are actually avoiding. They say this is normal when something inside them feels deeply wrong. The mind creates stories to maintain comfort because discomfort feels dangerous to the nervous system. When a person stays in a toxic relationship, the brain says it will get better. When someone stays in a job that drains them, the mind says this is how life is. When a person ignores emotional pain, the brain labels it strength. But in reality, it is suppression. This is not stupidity. This is conditioning. The brain learns early in life that truth can lead to rejection, conflict, or loss, so it adapts by softening reality. People grow up learning that being honest about pain is risky, so the mind becomes skilled at editing reality without the person realizing it. Psychologists explain that self-deception works through selective attention, memory distortion, and emotional avoidance. You focus on evidence that supports your comfort and ignore signs that threaten it. You remember moments that justify your choices and forget moments that challenge them. You stay distracted because silence might force awareness. This is why many people fear being alone with their thoughts. The silence removes the mind's protective noise and truth begins to surface. The most dangerous part of self-deception is that it feels like logic. You say things like others have it worse, or I should be grateful, or this is not a big deal. These phrases sound mature, but often they are shields, not wisdom. When the mind lies to itself long enough, the body starts speaking through anxiety, fatigue, emotional numbness, and unexplained sadness. These are not weaknesses. These are signals that the truth is being ignored. Healing does not begin with motivation, it begins with honesty. The moment you stop asking, why am I like this, and start asking, what am I avoiding? The mind resists this question because truth demands change, and change threatens familiarity, but psychology shows that awareness reduces suffering more than avoidance ever could. When a person gently confronts reality without judgment, the nervous system slowly relaxes because it no longer needs to protect a false story. The brain learns that truth does not destroy it, actually frees it. Strength is not pretending everything is okay. Strength is allowing yourself to see clearly even when it is uncomfortable, because the moment the mind stops lying, healing finally begins. Remember moments that justify your choices and forget moments that challenge them, because remembering selectively helps the mind feel safe. You stay busy, distracted, entertained, because stillness threatens the illusion and silence invites truth. This is why many people fear being alone with their thoughts, because without noise, the mind can no longer hide from itself. The most dangerous thing about self-deception is that it feels like logic. You say things like others have it worse, or I should be grateful, or this is just a phase. These statements sound mature and reasonable, but often they are emotional shields, not wisdom. Psychology explains that when the mind lies to itself for too long, the body begins to speak. Anxiety, fatigue, emotional numbness, and sudden sadness appear without clear reason. These are not flaws. These are signals that the truth has been ignored for too long. Healing does not begin with motivation or positivity. It begins with awareness. The moment you stop asking, why am I weak, and start asking, what am I avoiding, the mind resists because awareness demands responsibility, and responsibility threatens comfort. But research shows that facing reality gently actually calms the nervous system, because it no longer has to maintain a false story. When you allow yourself to feel what you have been avoiding, the brain learns that truth is not dangerous. It is freeing. Strength is not pretending everything is okay. Strength is being willing to see clearly, even when it hurts, because the moment the mind stops lying to itself, growth finally becomes possible, and that is where real psychological healing begins. Once awareness begins, the mind enters unfamiliar territory because it is no longer protected by comforting illusions. And this is often the stage where people feel temporarily worse, not because healing is failing, but because the truth is finally being processed. The brain must relearn how to tolerate discomfort without escaping it. And this requires patience, not pressure. Psychology shows that emotions that were once suppressed do not disappear. They wait. And when the mind stops lying, they surface asking to be acknowledged. Many people panic at this stage and try to return to old distractions because discomfort feels like danger. But in reality, This is the nervous system recalibrating safety. When you stay present with uncomfortable feelings without judging them, the brain slowly learns that it can survive honesty. This is where lasting change begins, because awareness creates choice. Once you see clearly, you are no longer reacting. Automatically, you begin responding. Consciously, decisions become aligned with reality rather than fear. Self-deception keeps you stuck in patterns that repeat. Awareness breaks those patterns by restoring inner trust. Over time, the mind becomes quieter, not because problems vanish, but because you are no longer fighting yourself. Clarity replaces confusion. Emotional energy returns because it is no longer wasted on avoidance. The most powerful outcome of honesty is self-respect, because when you stop lying to yourself, you begin living in alignment with who you truly are, and that alignment is the foundation of mental strength, emotional resilience, and psychological freedom.